why are you running again?
You know, I'm running again because I think Olean can do better. And I think financially we're going backwards. So I decided after becoming alderman and going through the budget process that we really needed to step back and really scrutinize our financial situation. You know, I think the biggest issue coming forward, besides finances, is jobs. I think there's always the potential of more of our factories, you know, leaving, which scares me. I lived through the Del Tile factory closing down, and I think that that potential is very scary because financially it would really hurt Olean. But I think it would hurt our neighborhoods too, and our neighborhoods, as you know, are already having issues. So I think it's kind of connected, but that's one of my biggest fears.
Going forward into the next term, what do you think the mayor's role will be in fixing up the city's blight?
I think you have to get it moving. Um, you know, when I was mayor, we were criticized for trying to do the registration, and we did do it. And it was a good thing we did it. We actually held people accountable. We found out who owned property that we didn't know before. We got a name, so if we have an issue, we can contact someone. But we really haven't done anything since then. In the last 3 years, they've held back properties from the county that would have gone, you know, probably picked up by slum landlords and been made into multiple units. That's a good thing. But as far as the zombie issues, the land banking through the county, which Chautauqua County did a few years ago, and we were waiting to see how it worked over there. I think the tools are starting to fall in place. I think our latest is the inspection resolution that we've been working on for 10 months now. I think we need to make a decision and put something in place. I think, quite honestly, I think there's some things on the books right now that we could be enforcing. But I think we're trying to make such an airtight case if we have to take someone to court that we're missing out on moving now. So I think we have to get moving. I think that's something that I would push to really get out there and start working. People just want to see things happening, and they're not seeing it. They're hearing a lot of talk. They're hearing, you know, people talk about, well, we visited this neighborhood, we visited that neighborhood, but you've done nothing. So I think one of my priorities would be move ahead. You know, we're getting the tools in place. We need to get it done, and it's a quality of life issue, and our citizens that live here and the neighborhoods they live in deserve it.
Into the next term, what do you foresee as the mayor's role in helping stem the heroin and opioid epidemic?
I think you have to have a very proactive voice. I think you have to be willing to go out there and speak about it. Not be afraid to talk to families. You know, even my own family, you know, we have an issue like that. And it's devastating to families, and it makes you feel helpless, but it makes you feel like you're in it alone. And I think you have to talk more. You have to quit treating people like criminals. And it's a situation that's not going to go away. And I think we just have to talk.
Where should the city try to place its focus with the DRI grant funds?
You know, I would love to think that, and remember, they told us this is going to probably be 6 months, 8 months, or a year process with the committees. And I think those committees are going to change. I think you might start out with a set of folks and then over time lose a few and then gain a few. But I think that's one of the things that collaborating with private business, because remember, this isn't an infrastructure grant. This is a business grant. This is to help development, whether it be 4 Mile Brewery, the Manny Hanny, maybe a project that hasn't even come to light yet. But I think the city has to have a voice there, but not necessarily control the whole aspect. And I think we have to rely on collaborating with private business for their input. In the past, I think there's been such a focus on, the city or the mayor's office has to control what happens, and that's not necessarily true. We can be a part of it, but we don't have to control it. And I think that's something going forward. I think that's one of the things I learned as mayor, as you can't control everything, and there's so many things that you have to oversee, that if you have the opportunity to have input from very smart people in our community, business leaders, community leaders, nonprofits, all these folks. There's a lot of smart people out there, and if given the opportunity to come up with ideas, I think they'll do great.
Moving forward in the next term, looking at the city's infrastructure, how would you go about making strides toward updating those 120-year-old water pipes and the other issues that are facing the city while being fiscally responsible? How would you do that?
Well, I think, first of all, I would sit down with my DPW director and some of our other staff that know exactly where these problems are, and have a plan, prioritize. I think the thing that people just shake their head at is when we go ahead and we pave a street, and 2 weeks later we come back and dig up, one of the utilities, particularly if it's ours. It's such a waste of our resources. But I think I would go to them, make a list of what their priorities are, what they're the highest in the, as far as the areas that need help now. As I said earlier, there's areas where the water pressure is so low that it's a safety issue. So I would probably prioritize those areas first. And I'd also go after some of these state grants for water and for sewer, projects. One of the things that some folks don't understand is to work and to do things on your water and sewer, those projects and the financing for those projects come out of your two different accounts. We have our general fund, our water fund, and our sewer fund. So you have to have those monies there, or you have to find a way to get them. And in the past, it's been raising rates, and you can't continually keep raising rates on folks. So I would go after, really strongly go after some state funding for water and sewer projects.
Do you believe the city needs a city manager?
No, no, I don't. I think, I think that's kind of the easy way out. And I think, as I said, sitting in the mayor's chair before, I think the mayor has to, when you run for office, that's a job. It's not just show up at dinners and photo op. It's you work. You educate yourself on what's out there that can help your city. And I think a manager to me is more like an auditor or an accountant. We have that. And the checks and balances to that is our city council. They control the purse strings. And I think we have to do a better job there. But I don't think we need a city manager. I think other communities have gone that way and have gone back to the mayor system. And I think there's a very good reason why. But I think the mayor is someone that knows their community, that knows the people in their community, that are in the neighborhoods, that know where the blight is, that know where the drug issues are, and that know that one area of our city is doing very well, while another area is just, hurting. That's where you put some of your focus, at least. But I think the mayor can make a big difference and can do the job. And I think it's not necessary to have a city manager. And I think, in that case, do we just have a ceremonial mayor that we pay a couple $100 a month to go around and shake hands and cut ribbons? To me, that's a wasted position. So I would definitely be against a city manager.